Hey, my name is Cody Hosterman, and today I'm going to be demonstrating how to use our PowerShell module to automate the setup and preparation of your hosts for a VMware Cloud Foundation workload domain, leveraging vVols on Fiber Channel. So the first thing we'll see here that our VOS provider for the array that I want to register, my X70, is not currently there. There's one for another workload domain that I'm using though. Also, we look at all my hosts. They're currently all active. I don't have any unassigned hosts. I want to create a new workload domain. So I need to take some new hosts and commission them within SDDC Manager. So normally, or maybe not normally, but in the UI, you can go through here and you can add your hosts and you can choose the options. You can find the right places, validate it, and then commission it. But what we're going to do with PowerShell is automate that entire process and everything else that's required. Furthermore, to commission a host, you need a network. Since I'll be doing Fiber Channel here, I just need a vMotion network. So SDDC Manager knows what network to use when configuring the vMotion network of these hosts when you actually deploy them to a workload domain. So currently I have no unassigned hosts, so let's commission some new hosts. So I'll bring up PowerShell, and the first thing I want to do is use the VCF PowerShell module to connect to SDDC Manager. I'll use my credentials. And this will log me into SDDC Manager's REST API, which is what's needed to run the next command. So the next step here is I need some credentials. I need authentication to my flash array to configure some things on the array. And then I also need credentials to authenticate to these ESX servers that I have installed that I want to commission within SDDC Manager. So I'll store my FA creds and then also my ESX server credentials inside of my ESXi creds object. Now I can run the initialize PFA VCF workload domain commandlet. So this takes in a few things. So first I need to pass in my ESX host. So this is a comma separated list of my ESX FQDNs, and you can pass this in through a CSV file or something like that. Also my host credentials, and then I'll skip all the VMFS stuff because I'm doing vVols here. So I'll use my vVol parameter. The protocols option, it'll intelligently figure it out if there's only one protocol in your array. If there's two, then specify it. I also want to pass in my flash array FQDN. And then also the credentials to that particular flash array. And then the last thing is I want to specify my VCF network pool. And I'll specify my name, vMotion only. You saw it before. The commandlet, though, when you run it, will verify that not only that's a correct network, but also that network is valid, right, in general. So it's going to go through here, check everything out, connect to my host, connect to my array. It will then verify the network. The next step, then, it will see if the VOS provider for that array is registered because I chose vVols, and if not, it will register it. Then it'll create the host objects on my array using the worldwide names that it finds from the ESX server connections. Create a host group and add all those hosts to it. If those hosts already exist, it'll skip creating the hosts and it'll just add them to the host group. Then it'll go and it'll provision the protocol endpoint to that host group and rescan the ESX cluster. You can see here it registered my VOS provider and returned the information. The next step is then to compile the information for those hosts and validate them in SDDC Manager. SDDC Manager will take this input and connect to those hosts and make sure everything's configured properly, make sure all the prerequisites have been met. Once that validation is completed and successful, it'll move on to commissioning them. It'll take that same information and say, all right, SDDC Manager, I'm ready for these hosts to be included. So during this step in SDDC Manager, we'll see that the commissioning process has begun. And so if we flip over to the UI and look at the tasks, we can see that in the bottom there, the commissioning of those 4 in particular hosts I specified is indeed running. And I can click on that task for some more information about what it's actually doing to those hosts. So it did a couple things. It gave it a certificate, some DNS information, configuring NTP, and it's finishing up with that. The commandlet will wait for the commissioning process to complete. And once it's complete, then it'll return all the host listings that SDDC Manager returns when that operation is done. So it's done. My hosts have been fully commissioned and are ready in SDDC Manager. And you can see the information that SDDC Manager returns about those hosts that I just commissioned. And they are also currently status unassigned, meaning they're usable for a new workload domain using vVols on Fiber Channel. So there, my hosts are listed. You can see the network pool that's been assigned to them. They are active and currently unassigned. Furthermore, we can take a look at the more details around some of these hosts if you want to, or you can go into your storage settings and verify that the VOS provider that we added during this has indeed been added, my X70. Click on it for some more information, and yes, indeed, it's configured for Fiber Channel. So when a workload domain gets deployed, it'll use that VOS provider in that vCenter and those hosts. Thanks a lot.